With Joshua Cottle. And Joshua, I didn't ask, but do you go by Josh or Joshua?
Josh, that's
Josh,
fine.
okay. So I just wanted to have a chat with you. We're streaming live here on YouTube. We can use this video later. I went ahead and titled the video Video and Thinking Outside the Box. But one of the reasons I pay attention to you is because I see your YouTube videos that you're putting up on Facebook, the video that you produce. Can you tell people a little bit about your background and where they can find you? I've got graphics, by the way. Your YouTube channel is just above you, and your website address is just below you.
Sweet. So now I can point around.
Yes.
So on YouTube, I am the Pain Punisher, and below I have a Facebook group, all that good stuff. And my business name is Side Body Therapy. I've only been a therapist for coming up on 4 years. Previous to that, I was in school to be an RN and actually like advanced practice, a doctor of nursing. I was about 4 years in, and got put on a wait list. Walked into a massage school, purely fluke happening, and was like, "This seems like something I might like." Wasn't really sure, and fell in love with it.
Nice. So you wound up in massage coming from more like a medical background.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep. But my
What?
wife's an RN, so I mean that's kind of how I approach everything. Is very not necessarily clinical, but that person. I think that was probably my favorite part about massage is that it's all very slow and very person centered,
Yeah.
and kind of almost the interaction is the opposite of medicine because it's slow,
Yeah.
but you get to bring all the information with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things about that slow you talked about was I extended my session length to 3 hours because I wanted more connection with the client, not less. I wanted more
yeah,
intimacy with the client, not less. And it was amazing to see the sort of like transformation people had because you were doing these heroic sessions where they were transforming from chronic pain issues, and it really gave me time to smooth out the edges and work on the specific pain points you came in for.
absolutely. That's one of my favorite things because, like, I have short sessions. I have as short as 30 minutes, and up to three. It's usually like 3.5, and I always go over.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people who hate that, but like, it's one of those things that if you find something at the end, it's like I'm not going to shortchange the person just because we found, oh, it's your hip, or it's something that we didn't get to until 10 minutes till the end of the session.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with those epic sessions because they truly feel epic for everybody involved.
Yeah. So how did you get into video production specifically?
So I actually started out on Fiverr, producing videos for other people. Right?
Nice.
I did smart ass commentary and like ads for people. I actually played a wise guy, so I drop into like a Brooklyn accent, and I had like sledgehammer props and all that stuff, a little hat, black and white, and I would filter it and do a and I made like 40 grand like that over the course of 2 years. It was a side gig, and I was like, you know what? I like making videos.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird art form. I find it interesting. When I took art in high school, I did very poorly. I didn't have a natural knack as a visual artist, but videography, using cameras, and now using software, it's amazing for me to feel like I'm coming into my own sort of as an artist. Like you're crafting the storytelling, you're crafting the information distribution using AV in a way that I didn't really see when I started making video.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes that's sort of the essence of like any art is that you have to find something you like. So then you can practice it. And then as you do that, you get better and better. And it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's a very slippery slope. The students are always
It can
asking
be.
like what to use, and I'm like, your phone. And then they think that the phone like isn't good enough, and I'm like, guys, if you just this, you can record, produce, edit, distribute, like, yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know because when they go to my videos, if they're like, well, what do you use? They're always assuming like the answer is some kind of DSLR or some
Yeah,
expensive camera. And I guess originally it was expensive because
yeah,
it's a cell phone, and so I mean it was expensive. But Jesus, this thing records 60 frame 4K. There are DSLRs that don't do that. So I mean it's and I do all the editing. I can do the editing here on this phone.
yeah,
That's what I'm using right now. Or I can transfer it over to an iPad if I want some more real estate, or to a computer if I really want to.
yeah.
I find the whole ecosystem part of it is actually why I haven't switched from a phone, because it allows me a lot of like mobility.
Yeah, I kind of, to me, it's like being an artist and painting on canvas, painting on wood, painting on metal. Like you learn over time, there's like different attributes. Sometimes I think people want it to be polished and perfect, like you talk about these expensive DSLR cameras. But there's something about rough cut footage from a phone that I actually like. It feels less Hollywood and more authentic to people when they see it.
Absolutely. No, I do that, and there was a video that I just did where I just kind of intentionally have hand holding it, and I'm walking out to the room, introducing the video and the topic, and then I like to screw around, like I would like to inject a little humor, so I'll have a clip from The Simpsons, or I'll drop in something mildly inappropriate or whatever,
Yeah.
to where it kind of pops you out of the like trance that you get in sometimes, where it's like it's all business, and it's like, no, it's supposed to be fun.
So we take this video and we post produce it, and then we add like Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And they're having like a little, or it's like Mystery Science Theater 3000. They're watching and like commenting on what we're doing with the little graphic.
Yeah, if I could just have that meme of like the Jesus lean in, that'd be perfect. I would just be like, what did you say? I feel like I have a lot of those moments in my videos.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the more I do it, the more creative it becomes. The easier it is to like set things up and communicate with people. I try to explain to students and then colleagues too. It's like 80% is good enough. Like this recording, if you want to call it a recording, we're streaming live on YouTube. Like this may not be perfect. If I get 80%, I'm like gold. And tomorrow the goal is to get 81% and just like keep repeating the process until you get good at it. So for me, people can now, I've recorded video for 10 years. So people can take out a phone and go, hey, Robert, tell us something poignant. And I'm like, and I just blurt it out. And they're like, dude, how do you do that? And it's like, dude, I've been recording everything for 10 years. Like, I've just gotten ignored. It's like, I'm shaving. Let's make a video.
It's fine. Just do it anytime. And that honestly, if people, people out there, they always look at it as a roadblock, or like why they don't do it is, oh, it has to be perfect. Whatever. No, some of the best moments are just get it out and just talk. Because that's the only way you get comfortable talking to a camera.
I teach a close-on form of work, and I try to explain to students that one of the advantages is that they can make video. It's easy to record things when people are clothed and you're doing a demo somewhere. But I think fundamentally the real issue is they say it's because they need the expensive camera or whatever. What they're really worried about is people's judgment.
Oh yeah, I would say that I couldn't agree with more. And I mean, I'll be honest, I still have moments where I'll put some shit out and be like, is this going to be like my moment to get my stick my head in the meat grinder? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Well, like I've seen your YouTube videos, and like I wanted to comment on your thumbnail images are great because they're always very like active, like your mouth is open, something's going on. It makes me want to click on it. And those little things, like, I don't know how long it takes you to make those, or like if you're designing those in Canva or, some software, but those little things are what I talk about. You make it 80% is good enough, but if you just keep at it and like improve it and make it better, it's like the audio signal, the video signal, the graphics, all of the software is really what allowed my business to shine, but it just shows off the stuff I was trying to sell anyway, which is sessions and then classes.
It is. And that's one of the things, like with video, since we're on that subject, nothing sells like video. Like anytime I shop now, my first stop is the reviews. Like I'm looking to see how many stars it has. And I go look for a review on YouTube, or like how to use a damn thing.
Yeah.
And then once I see it, I'm usually like, yep, I want that.
Yeah.
I mean, so the same thing with like massage. It's a visual media when you're a customer at first. When you're looking at it, you're like, and I mean, massage is fucking weird. Like people always want to, when you're a therapist, you don't see the weirdness anymore because you've been doing the weirdness. But if somebody's never been in, they've never had a massage, it's weird to come in and get naked with someone that you don't know. And so it plays to that clothing part too. When I say, oh no, you stay in clothes, show up at workout. And then next session, if they want to come in and they're more comfortable, fine.
I think the transition is,
man, it's a huge selling point.
Yeah, I think the transition is we have such an intimate form of work. So the public has been trained to come in private, take off their clothes. But long before they ever come in, the therapist can build rapport using this. They can build trust before they ever get in your room. Like massage therapists themselves are responsible for the education of the public and what we do. And this is how that happens.
100%.
Yeah.
And I can say right now that, aside from like advertising and all that stuff too, is that it helps you attract the clients you actually want to work with. Because immediately people can see my personality and they'd be like, nope. And that saves me, it saves them time and money. And it saves me, like, because I'm talkative. I'm not one of those people who's like, yep, just go to sleep, everything is fine. People will do that, but if somebody comes in and they're like, I want to talk politics, okay, let's do that.
Yeah, it's
so
different.
Some of my favorite sessions are the ones where people are, a little like, oh yeah, let's talk the whole session. Hell, half the time I think that's what they actually needed.
Yeah, so COVID has been extremely difficult for people. It's been really hard on our industry, but I can't really mentally figure out how much stress people have. Because we're usually I feel like we're the front lines. Like we storm the beach at Normandy every day when it comes to stress, helping people with stuff. But now, because of COVID, it's made it even more challenging. So I kind of focused more on the video because I could do that from home. I could continue to educate in whatever form, to wait for COVID numbers to subside, to go back to a fairly normal industry. But I really think that connection and fostering a sort of intimacy online, I even looked at it from a video standpoint. I just started this process and I haven't really done a lot of video yet. Like I was telling you, I'm still working on cameras and audio signals. Is I would review a local beer. And for me, this was a weird step because I'm like, man, this isn't massage. And I'm like, but it's me promoting me as a beer drinker locally. And then I wrote a review on Instagram, and then the company waved at me or whatever. And I said, hey, if you want one of your Bloom Masters wants to be on my podcast, let me know. And they sent me a message and say, yeah, email so-and-so. Well, the thing is, it's it doesn't interact with a wellness-based business, but what it does is it builds personal brand. And it exposes me and my business by promoting other local businesses in an industry where nobody's reaching out using video and audio that way.
Well, and I think nothing makes your business or even just your personal, your personal sphere more powerful or more valuable than when you reach out to help someone else.
Yeah.
Because being unselfish is, who doesn't want to be around someone like that? Who doesn't want to do business with someone like that?
Yeah.
So, it's a hallmark. That alone can sell it.
That's what's interesting to me. People,
go for it.
When people talk to me about competition, this comes up fairly regularly, and they're nervous about, I don't know, if they follow Joshua, they're not going to follow me. And I'm like, no.
Right?
No. That's not, there's plenty enough students and clients and, people for us to all basically eat until we are gorged and can't eat anymore. And then some.
Yeah.
Massage therapists act
this is one of those things that, no, go ahead.
Oh, they act like they're fighting. I ask them, what percentage of the population gets massage on any regular basis? And we'll come up with make up a number, 5%. And I'm like, why are you advertising to that
Right.
5% instead of the other 95%?
Absolutely. And this is one of those things I think in other medical professions, it just doesn't happen. Nobody worries about the doctor down the road. If you're a doctor or if you're a nurse, you don't worry about the other nurse putting you out of
Yeah,
business
yeah, for
or
sure.
making it to where you're no longer valuable. So no chiropractor or physical therapist thinks they're going to get outplayed by like another professional because they're I get maybe it's that they realize that there's so many ways to work on a particular issue or just your interaction or there's so many different slices that go into how you come across, like how your business is and how you are as a person. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
I don't know. I mean, I don't get overly concerned about it. I just continue to put out video. And like some people, they'll work with me. I have some apprentices who work with me fairly closely. And they kind of go, man, I don't know how you do all that. It's a software and the cameras and and it's like, I don't really geek out about zeros and ones. Not really. What I geek out about
right.
is being able to build a business, being able to help people, and being able to distribute information globally to do that. Like that's, man, listen, I was 18, 19 years old when I first used the internet in 1995. Like we come a long way. Like the
Oh
stuff
man.
that I dreamed about as a kid is like becoming real life. I mean, just this, I saw this develop. I didn't even know this was a computer. I was just irritated that people kept, put your phone
Right.
down. It's a phone. I'm like, no, it's a small personal computer that connects to all of Earth.
You've literally seen the evolution from where they were like suitcase sized all the way down to like teeny tiny
Yeah.
and now gradually back the other way
Yeah.
but thinner.
Yeah. It's,
No, the cell phone is one of the most amazing pieces of technology that we have. I mean, it was like when I was watching your or the video that you did before this about technology
yeah.
and all of that stuff, and it's like it really is. We live in the future.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
So let me ask you this, kind of like from the last podcast. What do you think? It's 2021 now. What happens in 10 years? Just 10.
Oh man. If we don't destroy ourselves first, I preface everything with humanity.
You're
With
going
that,
for the.
if we don't just go off the edge,
You went straight
because
to
we
the
don't.
apocalypse.
Man, I think in 10 years that it's going to be a completely different world. I think about just 10 years ago to now, all the technology you've seen. And I mean, you could go a lot of different futurist routes here to where technology is being built into you. I think as far as like helping people, I think that we're probably in a game changing 10 to 20 years where you're going to see like people who don't have a limb having that restored or
Yep.
augmented in some way. It's like with vaccines and all that stuff, we really are on that. We're on a cusp, and this is why I preface it with not destroying ourselves because we have an iffy history sometimes with technology. But restoring people's vision and hearing
Yeah.
and curing chronic pain. I mean, how long have we heard that and the promise of that? And really, we just sell opiates. That's pretty much what we have, and some new thoughts on how pain works in your head, but still not a solution. I think in the next 10 years, that would be my number one thing that I would like to see is the complete control over pain, um, along with just being able to advance humanity
Yeah.
in a way that we haven't seen.
So that's like a broader scale. What do you think about massage specifically in the next 10
Specifically
years?
with massage,
Yeah.
oh man. I was funny because I had just been showing my kids those robots from Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
And like some people, like when I look at those, I'm like, am I completely replaceable?
Yes.
Maybe. I don't know. I've honestly sat in some of those massage chairs that were better than some massage therapists that I've been to.
Well,
and I usually
yeah,
I hate to say that, but sometimes it's like, oh.
I think here's the issue. If Boston Dynamics, and I'll use them as an example, just because they seem to be producing some of the most advanced robotics that the public has seen. if that technology got to the point where it could give a massage as good as you and I do, one, I want one.
I heard you say
and
that.
two,
Totally want that.
The other thing is, if automation gets to that point, if robotics, AI, and automation get to that point, humans essentially don't have to do manual labor anymore unless they want to.
Yeah.
That so changes the playing field that it's kind of like, I don't know, I always talk about the founding fathers because in America we're so familiar, but I'm like, yo, bro, if Ben Franklin had access to Twitter...
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's like...
It would have been crazy.
It's like these guys wrote documents with a feather.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've come a long way. I'm not really... I'm very... Let's put it this way. I used to be a Luddite. I'm very optimistic about what's going to happen, though I do think there's going to be some major hurdles. There are going to be some economic blowback and changes. So, for instance, I've seen some interviews saying that the Trump administration, like one of the reasons that Trump won is they were promising to bring jobs back to the Rust Belt. The problem is automation and robotics is what's eating the Rust Belt because they're using robotics to eat away at industry slowly. And I don't want to be unsympathetic to people who had those jobs, but, you know, it's kind of like, you know, being angry at the Model T Ford because you want to protect horse breeders. It's like, man, it's a superior way of like producing something that's like changing the world. So it becomes
like one of the examples I think. So we just moved to small town Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I think about people like a familiar example of a job that they don't want, unless it's just for fun, is being a farmer. Like, you don't truly want to go back. But at the time, it was the same set of circumstances. When they saw a mechanized farming, it was like, well, you know, the farms are going to go out of business and all that stuff. Well, there was, but there's also all these other little professions that come up. So as the Rust Belt declines, you're going to see, you know, you get them into training programs. And this is, you know, we could talk the role of government in this, but it's getting those people into different professions instead of just saying, well, we're just going to leave you to rot. No, we'll get you over here and train you in, you know, solar power or, you know, battery technology. Because, you know, it doesn't end, it just changes.
Yeah, and the change, as much as possible, is like I stopped fighting technology or thinking it was a negative and started embracing it and said, hold on, how can we harness this to do the good things I want to do? So I wanted to be a successful massage therapist, and I used technology to do that. I created a workbook and a PDF. That's technology. It's a book. That's a technology. Like the printing press allowed that. Then it was like video and then multicam video and then live streams and putting in my Bluetooth, taking a phone call live. Like all of the stuff therapists want to do. It's like the tech allows you to put your heart on steroids and then like share it really, really wide to like find your audience.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the single biggest things is people will, you know, because a lot of people, and I hate to say this, it comes down to money. And I love money. And people will be like, well, if you're going to give it away for free, or I've seen you have that discussion where it's like, well, you're going to give it away but that's not the point. The point is that you can make great content, you can make a great course, and then you can price it, but you don't have to necessarily price it crazy high because you're about to reach 10,000 people. And so those little numbers, when you're doing quality stuff, you get, I don't know if I can't remember his name right now, with Superfans. He has a podcast and everything. He does a lot of business coaching.
Seth Godin?
Myself for not remembering his name.
Is it Seth Godin?
But his book is called Superfans. And he talks about, and there's a lot of, you know, guru-y type people out there that throw this around, but that you don't need a lot of people to support you. You need good quality product or content. I hate the word content, but even though it is content, but you need a good message.
Yeah. And
you need people to believe in that message or want to buy it because it is a good message.
Yeah. Simon Sinek will say this, and I've tried to wrap my brain around some of his content, and he'd say that People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that's something.
Who was that again that said that?
Simon Sinek.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, Simon Sinek. It's like The Power of Why, I think is the name of it, or something like that. You can find the original TED Talk that he did. Does a great like infographic kind of, you know, demonstration about this. And I've tried to clarify that in my marketing, and I think I've only been successful. People in our industry sometimes have a big pushback against me, and I find it really confusing because I think fundamentally...
I got a little bit of audio chop there at the end.
Can you still hear me? Are we chopping up?
There we go, we're back.
Okay, so maybe just a little bit of lag. So what I find interesting is I feel like Elon Musk, and I feel like I'm in an industry selling a Tesla, an electric car in a fossil fuel based automotive industry. And they just don't like it because it's different. They just don't like it because it's different. It's not because anything about the car. It's just different, and we don't like different. This is what we do. And I'm like, but Close On and Matte Based has some advantages. But it's like a statistical anomaly. So it's like, I mean, I don't know when the Tesla came out, but basically, like, if you own a Tesla now, if you owned a Tesla 5 years ago, a little more weird, right? And I think that's the thing, like, people just fundamentally, I try to understand this, they don't like change. And I'm trying to figure out, how do you introduce something to them in a way that gets them to want the power of why. They buy why you do what you do, not what you do. Like, why do they want to come over to my side? Why do they want to explore Close On and Matte Base? And I think about that from a marketing standpoint, including like video production.
Yeah. Well, and it's so hard because I think if you could answer that question, you would solve so many problems for so many industries. If you could just figure out how do I get them to just give it a try? But I totally agree that the biggest roadblock everybody has is that they don't want to change, or it seems odd or weird, or just not the way things are done. But getting them to try, even a small try, and sometimes I would say that just video, like your video before, I never even thought about getting a tie mat until I saw some of the stuff you did on a mat. And then I was like, but it was the video that convinced me. That I was like, oh, you know what? It was a little weird at first, but then I watched them and it was like, holy shit, I want to be able to do that, and I can't do that on a goddamn table.
It's a different, it's a slightly different art form, and it has certain advantages. But when I finally clued into the fact that it was Close On, you could film and photo document, I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why I didn't see that before. And it's like, well, you didn't have mentors and colleagues who were operating a business in the way you are, in the time you are with this. Like, YouTube didn't even exist when I was in massage school. Now massage students go to YouTube obsessively to be able to find information related to the stuff they're learning in school to like reinforce their education.
Absolutely. Some of my best techniques came from Massage Sloth. Like, as soon as I found him when I was in school, man, I was just like, I felt like a massage god, because everybody else was still doing, whatever it was, and I was like gliding across stuff and like spreading tissue and moving super slow. And so I think it gives you it helps the people who are up and coming, and gives them the advantage. It introduces them to stuff, because I mean, honestly, schools lag so far behind on all of this stuff. Like, I don't know of a school that teaches anything in clothes.